Today on ELN Morning.
All rise. Elon students are seeking justice this morning after participating in a march that resulted in their arrest. We have the latest on the outcomes of the hearings.
Hoping for immunity. Local healthcare workers are talking about a possible vaccination. We have the most recent coronavirus updates straight ahead.
A flash flood warning here at Elon. I'll let you know if this rain will continue through the weekend.
Today, November 12th, 2020.
This is ELN Morning. Well, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Baylor Rodman.
And I'm Rundle. We begin with two Elon University students in court today. This comes nearly 2 weeks after they participated in a march that resulted in their arrest. Here is juniors Hannah Garcia and Tim Olson this morning entering the criminal courtroom. They're currently awaiting their hearing right now, and they are among the 11 people charged with failure to disperse. The Alamance County Sheriff's Office say they began making arrests after multiple requests to leave the county courthouse.
That as far as my responsibility is concerned, showing up is 95% of it, so whatever happens, happens. So I hope at some point, if it is today, if it is later, it gets dismissed, but we'll have to see.
Sheriff Terry Johnson is currently facing 3 separate lawsuits for the handling of the October 31st march in Graham, and we'll keep you updated on the outcome of these hearings on our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
3 new Alamance County commissioners are set to take on their new roles. They're the official governing body of the county. All 3 of the Republicans running for commissioner won. ELN is interviewing all 3 of them, and we've asked 2 out of the 3 so far what they thought about the police's response in Graham. John Paisley Jr. says the Alamance County Sheriff's Office acted lawfully after pepper spraying marchers in Graham.
They didn't have any hard feelings toward those that were protesters. They certainly have a constitutional right to do that. But you don't have a right to bring gasoline onto the courthouse steps.
Paisley says the path to success is bipartisanship.
We all need to work together and talk to each other, and the differences that were so pronounced prior to the election need to be discussed, and they need to go away. We need to all work together.
Bill Lasley Jr. and Pamela Thompson also won seats on the Board of Commissioners. For a breakdown of all the candidates, go to elonnewsnetwork.com.
While the race for the White House has come to a close, ballots in North Carolina are still being counted. The Alamance County Board of Elections is finalizing those results today. While it is still too close to call, President Trump is still leading President-elect Biden in this state. Trump leads with 50.1% of the vote, with Biden at 47.8%.
And right now, Republicans and Democrats are fighting for control of the U.S. Senate. This week, a key race here in North Carolina put Republicans one step closer to keeping control, as incumbent Republican Thom Tillis officially defeated Democratic challenger Cal Cunningham. This leaves the 2 runoff races in Georgia to determine which party will hold the Senate majority. And here at Elon, the number of new daily coronavirus cases and the number of students in quarantine has leveled out. Since last Thursday, the school has reported either 4 or 5 new cases daily. But while the numbers remain steady here on campus, the state of North Carolina is seeing record-breaking numbers. On Wednesday, the state reported more than 3,100 new cases, an all-time high. Currently, there are over 1,200 people hospitalized. That's the second highest number since the start of the pandemic. The state also surpassed a cumulative 300,000 coronavirus cases. The Alamance County Health Department is telling Elon students who tested positive for the coronavirus not to fly. This comes 2 weeks before the university plans to go on Thanksgiving break. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention partnered with the Department of Homeland Security to create a do not board list. It prevents travelers from boarding commercial airlines if they've tested positive for COVID-19 or have been listed as a close contact. Individuals can be added to the list by local and state public health officials, but the Alamance County Health Department did not yet respond to Elon News Network's request for comment on how many they have placed on the list thus far. The CDC says individuals are removed after a 2-week period. Well, Caitlin, I got to tell you, it is some nasty weather out there for sure. I was walking around campus the last few days, giving a tour yesterday, my new friend Maddie from Boston, and I got to tell you, just not that North Carolina blue sky I'm used to.
It's absolutely not, and it's humid and it's hot and it's November. I'm really just ready for the nice cool breeze, the 60-degree weather. I mean, I'm over the humidity, I'm over the heat. It's not fun anymore.
For sure, the flannel weather, that's what I'm looking forward to, for
I want
sure.
to be bundled up, I want my jacket, I want the hat,
For sure. All right, well, listen, our Courtney Weiner, she is braving the elements for us this morning and is joining us live now from Citrone Plaza. I'm sorry, no, she's not. She's under the oaks. She's under the oaks out there, and you can see all the rain and puddles behind her. Looks gross. Courtney, tell us what's going on.
Baylor and Caitlin, it does not look like this rain is going to stop anytime soon. And actually, I just got a notification a few minutes ago that this flash flood warning that was supposed to end at 10:15 is now continuing until 4. You can see in this video of scenes around campus, we have seen a lot of slight flooding around the historic neighborhood and the Haggard Avenue area. And also you can see behind me, once we get back to my video, that the under the Oaks is flooded as well. You can see in the video there. So now looking into today, we're seeing 63 degrees right now. Again, the rain is not stopping. Tonight we'll see a drop to 50 and the rain will continue. But the good news is that in looking in the next 5 days, the sun will be out tomorrow. So we'll see a high of 72 and a low of 40. We will see some wind and the sun will continue throughout the weekend. Saturday, a high of 63, a low of 44. Sunday, we'll see a rise in temperature, high of 71 and a low of 41. Monday and Tuesday, the sun should continue again, but we will see a dip in temperatures. Monday, we'll see a high of 61, a low of 35, and Tuesday, we'll see a high of 57, and a low of 33. So the rain, again, is not going to be stopping today. Please stay safe as you're walking to class. The bricks are slippery and there is some slight flooding around campus. That's all I have for you outside under the Oaks. I'm Courtney Weiner. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Courtney, thank you.
and we'll be right back after this break. In hopes of lowering hospitalizations and cases, there's a new developing vaccine. Pfizer is announcing a vaccine that they say is 90% effective. Elon University is requiring students to get the flu vaccine before returning to campus in January, but there's no word if the university will require a COVID-19 vaccine when it becomes available to the public. Cone Health Associate Chief Nurse Executive Vianne Ainstrom says there's still uncertainty to what a vaccine can bring.
I think right now we have more questions than answers maybe, and so I think it's going to be some time before we really kind of know what the impact of the vaccine is really going to be.
Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the hopes of a vaccine doesn't mean to get lazy. He's still recommending distancing even with the development of a vaccine.
But in that interim, we could get into a lot of difficulty if we don't adhere to the public health measures. When we get both of those two things together, a vaccine and public health measures, that would really be a game changer.
Pfizer's vaccine is not approved by the FDA yet. The company says it plans to seek emergency use authorization, and they promise to get that out by the end of this month.
As flu season quickly approaches, many are becoming curious about how to tell the difference between the coronavirus, the flu, and the common cold. There are some key differences when looking for symptoms of any of these. The most effective way to know if you are positive or sick is to go to your local healthcare provider and get tested. According to the CDC, fever, dry cough, and fatigue are common symptoms of both the coronavirus and the flu. The key difference is shortness of breath and loss of taste and/or smell. The CDC also says that a fever and headaches are associated with the flu. Congestion, runny nose, and sneezing align with the common cold. Student Health Services on campus can give you a diagnosis. You can call them at any time at 336-278-7230.
November is Native American Heritage Month. According to U.S. Census data, North Carolina has the largest Native American population out of every state east of the Mississippi River. The latest CDC report on Native American outlines the disproportionate impact with COVID-19. According to this report, Native American communities are at higher risk for severe outcomes of the virus. The president of Elon's Native American Student Association says Native communities at higher risk need more assistance.
I know a lot of natives can be very close to their family, and I feel like that might be like a huge thing, but like it really should be helped.
This year, seniors in the Periclean Scholar Program are partnering with Pine Ridge Reservation. They're tasked with creating an impact for change on that Native American community. Tonight, the program is hosting a profit share at the Mission Restaurant to raise money for an organization on that Native American reservation.
And still to come, students are researching why Zoom classes make you so tired. Hear what that's all about ahead.
As the semester is coming to a close, students are starting to feel what is now being called Zoom fatigue. Assistant Professor of Exercise Science Aaron Piepmeyer and two of his students, Alexandra Smith and Emily Clevin, are conducting research to find out more about this newfound theory.
Like, we were all getting so tired just from doing it, and I think they really did put effort into kind of staggering when we would be staring at a screen watching things like that. And they started using this term Zoom fatigue. And I don't think I had ever heard of it, but when I heard it, I was like, this is so relatable.
The study will partially focus on the fatigue, anxiety, and worry levels of these participants. And at the end of the experiment, both groups will then go through a cognitive assessment. Professor Piepmeyer says this assessment is done to establish work performance following the virtual interaction.
It's measuring all these psychological components. But then at the end, regardless of what happened, you're going to say, okay, now just how good are you performing cognitively? Like how sharp are you right now, regardless of how you feel?
Although there are a few studies establishing the causes of Zoom fatigue, all three of them say virtual communication can cause an overload of senses.
You can still kind of use your hands a little bit, but the rest of the nonverbal cues are kind of lost.
Even just the fact that right now we're looking at each other and there's three faces on the screen. And in no real world face-to-face conversation would I hold up a mirror to myself while I'm talking to you.
Early studies have shown that exercise and movement is potentially a good way to combat Zoom fatigue. They are still looking for participants to finish their research, and for more details on that, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
Yeah, well, for sure. I'm looking at the screen so much. I mean, I'd certainly feel the same way between classes and organizational meetings. I mean, it's certainly a lot.
And you know, something interesting that they were talking about too, they really wanted to hit on that overload of senses a lot. So what they were talking about was just the fact that you're staring at so many different faces for so long and you have to make eye contact with all of these people.
Sure.
So it's very interesting, interesting interview.
All right, well, that's all the news that we have for you today. Thanks so much for joining us.
For all the news you need to know when we're not on the air, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
Have a great day, Elon.